but he doesn't go after him right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that.
Honestly, I think Gervonta will hurt him. I think he'll just use IQ. He'll tire him out a little bit. And, you know, I think he'll...
Davis knocked out a heavyweight during sparring. Rogan praised Tank's explosive power and the way he drops opponents right in front of him without a hint of hesitation. He said Davis brings a dangerous kind of excitement to every fight because he can end it at any moment. According to Rogan, that unpredictability is what makes Tank so fascinating and terrifying for anyone who steps into the ring with him.
Someone's ever going to be able to figure that out, or whether or not he's just going to keep cracking people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's part of the fun of watching it. I've talked to a lot of like real boxing purists. It's like, you can't rely on that style.
Right.
He's got to be busier. When he gets to the best guys, it's not going to work out. Like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Sessions describe a version of him even more dangerous than the one fans see under the bright lights. Heavyweights step in hoping their size and strength will give him a real challenge. Instead, they end up outmatched by his speed and explosive power. Witnesses say even the biggest fighters struggle to handle the sudden force Davis generates from such a compact frame. With a blunt prediction, Gervonta Davis hits far too hard, and Jake has never felt that kind of knockout power before. He explained that Jake may feel confident after knocking out older boxers and retired MMA fighters, but that confidence won't protect him from someone like Davis. According to him, when Gervonta lands, he doesn't just score, he causes real damage. He believes Jake will quickly realize he signed up for a level far beyond his current experience. Many in the boxing world respect Jake's willingness to take risks, but this former partner insists every risk has a breaking point, and Tank Davis is that point.
You know, people said that Jake would get finished or he would lose a fight. He obviously proved everybody wrong, but I genuinely believe this time, I think that, you know, with Gervonta's boxing IQ and him having Jake come down a little bit in weight, I think Gervonta will beat him, honestly. I think Gervonta will hurt him. I think he'll just use IQ. He'll tire him out a little bit. And, you know, I think he'll land. You know, Gervonta knows how to touch his opponents. But it's interesting because when Floyd fought Logan, the size really made a big, you know, impact. And you saw Floyd struggle, you know, against a big, you know, Ohio corn-fed, you know, wrestling strong dude. And, you know, I've sparred Jake and Logan before, and, you know, they train hard.
You're picking Tank by knockout?
Look, I sparred them years ago. They're much better than when I sparred them. They're athletes, you know, they train really hard. I think they work harder than
audiences into boxing, generating hype that many promoters failed to create. But he questions whether Jake is truly ready to face a fighter who is still in his prime. The truth is, Jake's biggest victories have come against opponents who were retired, coming from other sports, or no longer at their peak. Davis, meanwhile, brings elite speed, knockout precision, and years of top-level professional experience. Rogan wonders if business success can really protect Jake inside a ring where no followers or cameras can take punches for him. He respects Jake's courage, but believes this matchup finally puts him against
fights. Like, what if Jake Paul knocks one of them out? Like, what if you get a guy that, like, hasn't been tested and maybe has some promise and maybe gets wrapped up in the hype and maybe gets a little nervous and this is his first chance at a big show, and Jake Paul can crack?
Yeah.
100%. That knockout of Tyron Woodley is legit as fuck. He can crack.
But Eddie's point in that interview, and I think the point that just about every boxing aficionado would say, is that Tyron Woodley.
To Tank's mindset, even if the fight carries an exhibition label, the embarrassment risk is absolutely real. A boxer at Tank's level has spent his entire life building a reputation that reflects dominance and professionalism. Getting knocked out by someone who came up through online content would spark mocking headlines and raise questions about his legacy. Showbiz points out that Tank's draw with Lamont Roach already gave critics an excuse to twist the narrative against him. So he's training as if everything is on the line, because in the public's eyes, it is. For Tank, losing wouldn't be catastrophic physically, but reputationally. He knows he must deliver a statement performance, leaving no room for jokes or doubt. That pressure is fueling his focus, and he refuses to treat Jake as a novelty act.
But it has real consequences. Let him get knocked out by Jake. Let him get embarrassed by Jake. He can't come back. He'll be made a mockery of. He done took a knee, grease in the eye, had a draw with Roach, which everybody thinks Roach was robbed, and then made a mockery of by Jake Paul, a YouTuber. Which is why Gervonta Tank Davis is on Demon Time. See, me being back on my fitness journey, I know how hard that is, especially at his size with how heavy that medicine ball is. Gervonta Tank Davis is going to go hard, pause, on that Jake Paul fight. He has to. While everybody is trying to dismiss that shit, there's a knockout bonus and everything. You got Lamont Roach calling him all these names. Tank Davis shut off his social media. He can't take y'all negativity, making him worse before the fight. He can't allow y'all to be in his head, which that's what y'all want to do. The end of Tank. And I don't. I think boxing is better with Tank involved. I always say that. If there is boxing, boxing is even better when there's more talented and skillful.
Versus Gervonta Davis and other celebrity pro crossover matchups are giving boxing new oxygen. Traditional fights often fail to capture a global audience, but these high-profile events bring casual viewers, young fans, and entire social media communities into the sport. Carrington believes boxing needs excitement that goes beyond belts and rankings. It needs matchups that spark conversation and create moments. He argues that no matter where fans stand on the legitimacy debate, these events push boxing into the headlines and fuel interest that spreads into the rest of the sport.
Like, granted, it's entertainment, right? But this what this is sports entertainment. This is what's gonna put butts in the seat, believe it or not. This is what's gonna, bring a lot of money to the sport. Especially, we have people trying to say boxing is dead, boxing is dying. But, we have a whole demographic of people that don't even watch boxing, interested in boxing. So I like to look at it that way. Like, we're making these fantasy dream matchups come to life with Floyd and Tyson, And to be honest, I'm a little biased because Floyd, he is my favorite fighter of all time. And Tyson, he is a guy that basically made me fall in love with boxing. And he's the icon, the myth, the legend for me. So it was them two fighting. It's yo, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So and then on top of that, it's an exhibition, bro. It's not something to be taken serious. It's something that is for the people to just enjoy and watch. It's an exhibition. It's not like they're making it a sanctioned fight. Now, Jake and Tank, are they making that a sanctioned fight? I think they are.
They're trying to. It's a lot of moving parts right now with that.
Yeah, so I think that's that's where certain things become an issue, because now you're putting it into a serious space. You know what I'm saying? Which it shouldn't be. It's honestly, if it's sanctioned, how the heck they gonna I don't know, bro. I don't know how the heck they're gonna really pull that off, but I guess I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's kind of certain things you got to question, but at the end of the day, it is putting more eyes on the game. It's keeping the sport alive, and I feel like Jake, his vision, his views, it's kind of bringing eye openings. It's kind of opening people's eyes. It's funny because
emotional stress leading into this fight. Legal troubles, courtroom distractions, and constant public criticism have all added to the pressure on his shoulders. He has openly expressed his desire for legacy-defining matchups, like a clash with Vasyl Lomachenko, battles that elevate greatness rather than create controversy. When he fought Lamont Roach, he admitted he didn't feel mentally aligned with the moment. Analysts believe unresolved frustration and the spotlight on his legal situation could challenge him as he prepares for Jake Paul. Still, others argue that this same pressure might sharpen his motivation. Tank is determined to remind the world that despite headlines and setbacks, he remains one of the most dangerous fighters alive. The question now is whether he turns the stress into fuel or lets the distractions chip away at his edge.
Into the Gervonta Davis-Lamont Roach fight, Gervonta was not actually even interested in fighting Lamont Roach. He was trying to fight Vasily Lomachenko. And Vasily Lomachenko was the guy that was going to really kind of propel him. It was the big fight that he wanted to get. But unfortunately for him, Vasily Lomachenko decided to retire instead of fighting him. So all of the time that it went into negotiating that fight with Vasily Lomachenko, where he really thought that he was going to get, that marquee fight with a fighter, in that division, it goes away, right? So what does he do? He then has to try to make a fight with somebody else. And that somebody else was Lamont Roach, somebody that he knew, somebody that was from the same area that he is, and somebody pretty much he was doing that the PBC was doing a solid for, and saying, okay, man, we really don't have an opponent, but this guy has a 130-pound title. He just beat Hector Garcia, the same guy that we beat. So boom, let's make the fight. However, that fight was originally supposed to be in Houston, and it had all kind of problems with the venue, moving the venue from here to there. It was supposed to be on one date, then it gets moved to the next date, right? And so basically it gets delayed and delayed and delayed. He also has issues with a judge over a hit and run case, and he's not allowed to leave Florida. She cites him and drags him into court because he went to DC, or he went somewhere without permission. So now he has another threat over his head about going to jail. Just a lot of stuff on the top of that young man's head in the lead into that to the
Flash, showing him criticizing Gervonta's skills and career choices, yet instantly saying yes when offered a paid sparring opportunity with Jake Paul. Analysts have called it hypocritical behavior, speaking negatively about Tank's status, while still benefiting from his name through this fight. They note that Stevenson, who has insisted Tank isn't as technical as advertised, seems eager to profit from the hype surrounding him. Sparring with Jake, despite previously dismissing the matchup entirely, raises questions about his true stance. Critics believe it exposes how money and exposure can shift opinions overnight. Now, the storyline around Stevenson includes distrust from fans who expected him to stand firm in his principles instead of switching sides once he became financially involved.
Undercard fighter, and then now, worse than an undercard fighter, you're being brought in for sparring, and you're like, ooh, I get to pick Jake Paul's brain, and you like happy about being a sparring partner. For me, that wouldn't be kosher. If I was Shakur and I am who I say I am, I would be trying to build my brand as big as possible, right? Like, if you want to be a big actor, you're going to get to a point where you got to start starring in the movies. You can't just keep doing cameos and showing up for 5 seconds in a movie. You'll never get to Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Denzel Washington. You'll never, if you're not a leading man, you'll never get to where they've been, Leonardo DiCaprio. They don't trust you with the whole movie, right? So for me, if my goal as an actor was to be a leading man and to be the top build, you got to start working towards that. And if you keep doing favors and other people's projects where you do these little bit roles and extra, you're an extra in somebody else's movie, I feel like that's a conflict of interest, because it's not really going to get you towards your end goal. So that's what I'm looking at, Shakur. The branding stinks. You're literally Jake Paul's sparring partner right now, just because you don't like Tank. So like I said in the last video, the branding sucks.
Not Tank. It's gonna actually bump up Tank. Yeah, these actions, hey, people gonna be supporting Tank on these type of actions. You guys gotta look at the big picture, man. Years ago, man, I had a chance to spar, Ricky Hatton.
Unexpected partnership between Jake and Shakur. Many find it strange because Stevenson has consistently criticized Jake's career path and his level of opponents. Analysts are comparing this situation to when Jaron Ennis helped Canelo prepare for Terence Crawford, suggesting that some fighters may compromise personal viewpoints if the payout or exposure is appealing enough. This connection appears to be more about business than loyalty or sporting values. Many believe Jake clearly understands that bringing a recognized, world-class boxer into his camp boosts his credibility. Stevenson, meanwhile, gets compensation and extra spotlight, but fans are left questioning whether this move reflects sincerity or pure opportunism. It highlights how the line between competitive pride and financial strategy often blurs in modern boxing.
Then reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson had no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly?
Its potential location. He sees Florida as a crucial part of the promotional strategy, a high-energy entertainment hub with a strong celebrity presence, making it the ideal place to boost media coverage. Malignaggi believes that if Tank delivers a spectacular win against someone with massive online influence, his popularity could explode far beyond the boxing world. A knockout in front of such a broad audience could turn him from a hardcore fan favorite into a mainstream American household name. For Tank, this event represents a business upgrade, not just another fight. A win here could open the door to new endorsements, bigger venues, and global recognition.
But there's obviously a reason why the networks wanted to make Gervonta Davis a star.
But let's look at it. And Robert, I want to ask you this. When you look at the numbers for Canelo, his fight against Crawford, 41 million viewers. That's what they got. It was the most viewed championship fight of this century. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson got 108 million. It got more than double, significantly more than double. Is it the idea of the streaming services, Netflix, where they're following the numbers, Robert, and that's where the numbers are?
It's what we're coming to, the real fights where they deserve to be seen throughout the world are, it's great. They have good numbers, but when you see guys, that are YouTubers, guys that are 60-year-old retired and coming back, and getting 2 times more than what a real fight, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of embarrassing, kind of sad that we're getting there, that we're in that situation. But I also can't blame them, they're all making a lot of money. That's why Tank is doing it. I think it's ridiculous. It's a joke. But I can't go against that either. He's making a lot of money. Jake Paul is doing his thing. Jake Paul is he makes these fights happen and gets the views. So people are tuning in. That's
toward Jake as the potential winner. His argument focuses on the size disparity. Jake is naturally bigger and heavier, with a reach advantage that could make it tough for Tank to close distance comfortably. Ruiz also points out Jake's awkward style. He isn't shaped by decades of traditional boxing fundamentals, which means he moves in unexpected ways. That unpredictability could create moments where he surprises Davis. While Ruiz fully acknowledges Tank's incredible skill, he insists that physical advantages combined with confidence can create dangerous situations. His prediction may be unpopular, but he believes the risks Tank faces shouldn't be ignored. Any fight can change with a single punch, and Jake carries enough power that underestimating him could prove costly.
Your thoughts on this?
I have locks with Snaggy right there. I think Jake Paul wins that fight. You're way, look, obviously Gervonta Davis has way more experience. He's a hell of a fighter. He's done so much more for boxing and than a lot of people. But to say that, that's not, everyone's gonna want to watch that fight. I think it's a genius idea. I think Jake Paul sets the craziest expectations, and I think he sets the bar so high now in the boxing world. Jake Paul revived boxing. People could say what they want to say about it, but Jake Paul